Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. India-Pakistan agreed to continue confidence-building measures aimed at reducing alertness levels along the borders. The two sides decide to carry forward the understanding reached in DGMO-level talks on the 10th of May. Delhi International Airport Limited cancels license to Turkish company Celebi for ground handling and cargo operations. Adani Airport terminates partnership with China-based Dragon Pass. Both decisions taken amid national security concerns. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar holds first ever telephonic conversation with his Afghan counterpart, thanks Afghanistan for condemning the Pahalgam terror attack, affirms India's commitment to carry forward development work in Afghanistan. Russia and Ukraine all set to hold first peace talks in 3 years in Istanbul in the absence of top leaders. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio downplays expectations for a peace breakthrough. And in sports, Barcelona claimed 28th LaLiga title with 2-0 victory against Espanyol. A very good morning to all the viewers joining us at this morning broadcast. To begin with the latest that we are tracking for all the viewers. The Indian Army on Thursday said that in line with the talks held between the Directors General of Military Operations of India and Pakistan on the 10th of May, the two sides have agreed to continue implementing confidence-building measures aimed at reducing alertness levels along the line of control and other sensitive sectors. The DGMOs of India and Pakistan on Monday held talks over a dedicated hotline to discuss ways to prevent inimical military actions and consider immediate steps to reduce troop deployment along the borders and forward areas. Now, the recent de-escalation comes after India's Operation Sindoor that saw precise strikes on suspected terror infrastructure in Pakistan earlier this month. The strikes carried out in response to the Pahalgam terror attack reportedly targeted several key Pakistani military installations. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday reiterated India's stance on Pakistan, categorically stating that talks between the two nations could only take place regarding dismantling of terror infrastructure and vacating Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Only thing which remains to be discussed on Kashmir is the vacation of illegally occupied Indian territory in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. We are open to discussing that with Pakistan.
Dr. S. Jaishankar took a strong stance against Pakistan's terror infrastructure and said the country had a list of terrorists that needs to be handed over.
Our relations, our dealings with them will be bilateral and strictly bilateral. That is a national consensus for many years, and there is absolutely no change in that consensus that dealings with Pakistan will be bilateral. Talks with Pakistan. I think the Prime Minister made it very clear that the only talks with Pakistan will be on terror. That Pakistan has a list of terrorists who need to be handed over. They have to shut down the terrorist infrastructure. They know what to do. We are prepared to discuss with them what is to be done on terrorism. Those are the talks which are feasible.
Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the Indus Waters Treaty will continue to remain in abeyance until Pakistan puts an end to cross-border terrorism.
The Indus Waters Treaty is held in abeyance and will be continued to be held in abeyance until cross-border terrorism by Pakistan is credibly and irrevocably stopped.
The External Affairs Minister also spoke about support that India received from international community during Operation Sindoor.
We actually got a lot of international support. Many ministers, many leaders called up PM, many ministers called me up. We had a Security Council resolution which very clearly said that the perpetrators of the attack should be held accountable. And on May 7th morning, we held them accountable through the action which was taken through Operation Sindoor.
Now, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is all set to visit Bhuj Air Base in Gujarat. During his visit, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is expected to evaluate the operational preparedness of the Indian Armed Forces in the region and examine the effectiveness of strengthened security measures. The Bhuj Air Base holds significant strategic importance and has been targeted by Pakistani forces in the past. The Pakistani military had attempted to strike the Bhuj Air Base using drones procured from abroad. However, these attempts were thwarted and the Pakistani plot was severely foiled. Now, post-Operation Sindoor, Kashmir is returning back to normalcy. Markets are abuzz with visitors, schools are now open and the flight operations have been fully restored from and to Srinagar, with Union Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu urging people across the country to stand with the people of Kashmir by visiting the region and supporting its economy. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also held a meeting with key tourism players, emphasizing government's resolve to restore confidence in Kashmir's tourism sector. And to get you more on this straight from Srinagar, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Shabir Dar. Good morning, Shabir. As we are reporting, the situation is really normal, but you would be able to tell us more about the current normalcy that we are, and especially you are witnessing there in Kashmir. Shabir.
Yeah, good morning, Deepika. Yes, Kashmir is back to normalcy. We are seeing the markets are buzzed with the, with the shoppers and the visitors. The schools are, open, barring few in the border areas where there are, the restriction is yet to happen because of the challenges and all this stuff there. The rest of the things in Kashmir are back to normal. We have seen the flight operations in Srinagar airport, have been fully restored and people are coming. The good news is that yesterday we saw the packed flights coming to Srinagar with visitors, who are eager to come to Kashmir, and know the thing is happening here. They are arriving. And the Union, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu was here yesterday. He went to the Lal Chowk, met the shopkeepers and people there, interacted with them, listened to their grievance, concerns, and the way forward to boost the tourism sector in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, tourism is one of the key pillars of Kashmir's economy, and there is strong, efforts in way both from central government and state government, in reviving this tourism sector post Operation Sindoor, because we know, after April 22 when the terrorists, attacked the tourists in Pahalgam, there has been a decline in tourist arrivals. But now, as the situation is, returning to normalcy, tourism is also, gaining momentum, with the Civil Aviation Minister urging countrymen to stand united, to stand in solidarity with Kashmir, like the way they have stood behind our armed forces, and they have shown solidarity with the Pahalgam victims. So obviously there is an effort from the government side that Kashmir's tourism revival needs to be strengthened. So similarly, we have seen a lot of things happening in Kashmir. Also, the Chief Minister and his government is also making some comprehensive tourism revival plans. They are engaging with the key tourist players, stakeholders. Yesterday, we saw the Chief Minister meeting key tourism stakeholders and assuring them that the Kashmir's tourism revival is the top priority of the government. So the government is making some efforts like engaging, making the familiar visitors, taking some, innovative steps like, arranging some shopping events and cultural events in coming days, so that the tourism is returned to normalcy, because tourism is synonymous with the normalcy in Kashmir. Tourism is synonymous with the economic revival, and peaceful Jammu and Kashmir.
Indeed, there has been a lot of emphasis on tourism as well and the tourist as well. But also, can we also witness the sense of safety among the locals there?
Yeah, obviously, there has been, a lot of chaos in, the previous, when we saw these military actions on, from May 6. But obviously, after the situation came to normal, after the ceasefire, the situation has improved considerably. People are returning back to border areas where from they had migrated during that ceasefire violation time. So obviously, Srinagar is fully normal. I'm seeing a few tourists venturing on Dal Lakes yesterday. Certain people, I got calls from Pahalgam and Gulmarg. There are people returning to these tourist destinations also. But more importantly is the sense of security can be gathered from the fact that the people who had migrated from the forward areas are returning back to their homes. So this indicates that Jammu and Kashmir is back to normalcy.
All right. Thank you so much, Shabir, for joining us and bringing us the latest straight from Jammu and Kashmir. Now, India welcomed the Afghan regime's rejection of attempts to create distrust between the two countries during External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar's first interaction with Acting Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi. In his first ever conversation, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar posted on X, and I quote him, "Good conversation with acting Afghan Foreign Minister Mavlavi Amir Khan Muttaqi. Deeply appreciate his condemnation of the Pahalgam terrorist attack. Welcomed his firm rejection of recent attempts to create a distrust between India and Afghanistan through false and baseless reports. Underlined our traditional friendship with the Afghan people and continuing support for their development needs. Discussed ways and means of taking cooperation forward," unquote. Now, this is also the first political level contact and conversation since the Taliban captured power in Kabul in 2021. In January this year, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri met Muttaqi in Dubai. And to get you more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent on Foreign Affairs, Amritpal Singh from Chandigarh. Good morning, Amritpal. Now, when we talk about this particular development, how important this diplomatic conversation becomes, especially at a time when India is standing strong on its stand against terrorism?
Oh, Deepika, it's very significant. As you said, this is the first political contact between the two regimes. This is after the Taliban took over in 2021. Though we had established official contacts with them, our officials were meeting them, as you mentioned, in January. The Foreign Secretary met, in fact, post Pahalgam, the Director General of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, the person who handles, the officer who handles Afghanistan in the Ministry of External Affairs had traveled to Kabul to speak with the Taliban. Before that also, his predecessor last year had met the Foreign Minister, the Acting Foreign Minister, Maulvi Muttaqi, and the Acting Defense Minister and former President Hamid Karzai. It's significant from the point of view that though you do not have full-fledged diplomatic relations with them, but now India realizes that Taliban hasn't acted in ways that are inimical to India's interests. So when Dr. Jaishankar spoke with Maulvi Muttaqi last night, the two sides were very clear that there is a lasting friendship between the Afghan people and India and the Indian people, which they would want to take forward. India is open to their developmental needs, their needs of a more liberalized visa regime, of students, patients, traders coming to India, etc. And India on its part put out its concerns, security concerns, especially the fake propaganda which Pakistan was trying to engage in to create a wedge, or to try to widen a wedge between the two sides, which the Afghans had then said that no Indian missile had hit Pakistan. So clearly it happened in a context of the regional security scenario and the development needs of Afghanistan. Deepika?
Also, Amritpal, the conversation with Maulvi Muttaqi also speaks louder about the friendship India and Afghanistan share. Tell us more about the bilateral status of both the countries.
Well, the bilateral status since 2021 was when in August 2021 the Taliban stormed into power and ousted President Ghani's government. India, like the rest of the world, was wary. because this is the same Taliban which were trained and educated in the madrasas of Pakistan, run by the ISI. So they were being looked at with legitimate concern that would they be proxies of the ISI and the Pakistan army, and but as time progressed we realized that they don't listen to the Pakistan army. They realized that they have their own interests which they prioritize over Pakistan. Their umbilical cord with Pakistan, if not completely cut, is surely ruptured. Secondly, and more importantly, they did not allow their soil to be used for anti-India activities. They did not train any jihadis and let them come into Kashmir, which was our key concern. We, when earthquake hit Afghanistan, we gave them medical assistance, wheat assistance. We sent wheat, about 50,000 metric, more than 50,000 metric tons of wheat was sent earlier through the land border with Pakistan, through the Wagah-Atari border, then through the Chabahar, etc. So we stood by them in their times of need and gave them humanitarian assistance. We maintain a small technical team in Kabul, though our embassy is not fully functional, but we maintain a small technical team for essentially humanitarian assistance. So the bilateral relations stand there since the Taliban takeover. But as I said, successive official delegations have met the Taliban regime, and now this is the first political contact. One hopes, if everything goes well, the cooperation could deepen in the days to come on liberalization of the visa regime, on use of Chabahar port by the Afghans for their trade with the rest of the world, because Afghanistan, remember, does not have a seaboard, does not have access to a seaport. It's a landlocked country. So Pakistan is trying to extract its pound of flesh. So here the Indians would take care of their strategic interests, provided they take care of Indian security interests. And if that works out that way, then it augurs well for the relationship.
All right. Thank you so much, Amritpal, for joining us this morning and bringing us a rounded perspective on the latest and very important development. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you the latest update on the ongoing 11-day-long Tiranga Yatra that honors the courage and sacrifice of India's armed forces. UK court rejects fresh bail petition filed by fugitive Nirav Modi. And father of slain Israeli soldier calls on world to act for hostage release and return of his son's remains.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, India has revoked the security clearance of Turkish ground handling firm Celebi Airport Services India Private Limited with immediate effect. In an order issued on Thursday, the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security said that the decision was taken in the interest of national security. The security clearance for this company had been approved by the BCAC Director General in November 2022. Now, Celebi Aviation provides passenger handling, flight operations, cargo and postal services, as well as management of aero bridges and warehouse services at airports across 9 cities, including Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Goa, Cochin and Kannur. In compliance with the directive from BCAC, Delhi International Airport Limited has formally ended its association with Celebi entities responsible for ground handling and cargo operations at Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi. On the other hand, Adani Airport Holdings has also ended its partnership with Chinese digital airport platform Dragon Pass that provided access to airport lounges with immediate effect. As a result, Dragon Pass members will no longer be able to access lounges at airports managed by the Adani Group. the Ahmedabad-based company said in an official statement on the 15th of May. Now, the Confederation of All India Traders will convene a national conference today, that is the 16th of May, in New Delhi, with key trade leaders from across the country in attendance amid rising calls to boycott Turkish products. At this conference, a decision will be made on halting all import-export trade with Turkiye and Azerbaijan due to their support for Pakistan. CAIT confirmed this on the 15th of May. Now, CAIT also said there is no question of trading with countries that are against India, and this is the time for Indian traders to demonstrate their patriotism. Traders across the country are standing united under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the traders' body said. Now, CAIT is a leading traders' body representing the interests of over 9 crore traders and small businesses across India with a vast network of over 40,000 trade associations. The northeastern state of Sikkim is celebrating its 50th statehood day today. In a social media post, President of India, Draupadi Murmu, extended heartfelt greetings to the people of the state and wished all residents of Sikkim a future full of prosperity and well-being, celebrated their continued journey of harmony and progress. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended greetings to the people of Sikkim. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote, "The occasion this year is even more special as the northeastern state marks the 50th anniversary of its statehood." He also wished all the people of this beautiful state continue to prosper, unquote. In a significant nationwide outreach effort, the 11-day long Tiranga Yatra began across the country on Tuesday. The Yatra honors the courage and sacrifice of India's armed forces, particularly in light of the recently concluded and successful Operation Sindoor. A Grand Tiranga Yatra was organized in northwestern India's Jalandhar to honor the bravery of Indian soldiers. People of all walks of life marched with tricolour in their hands, echoing chants of togetherness. Their rally reflected unity and pride, with roads awash in saffron, white and cream. The zeal of Tiranga Yatra was also seen in central India's Bhopal. Thousands of people, including Madhya Pradesh's Chief Minister Dr. Mohan Yadav, participated in Tiranga Yatra with great enthusiasm to celebrate the valor of the Indian Armed Forces. A massive wave of national unity swept through North India's Noida as well. People of every age group participated with the tricolour in their hands and slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai and Vande Mataram. Member of Indian Parliament Mahesh Sharma also participated in the nationwide Tiranga Yatra. A vibrant display of pride also unfolded in eastern India's Balasore district as Member of Parliament Pratap Sarangi took part in a women-led Tiranga Yatra organized to celebrate national unity and the spirit of service. Women in large numbers, proudly carrying the tricolour, marched through the streets of Balasore, raising slogans of national pride and unity. India's Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy participated in Tiranga Yatra in Hyderabad, Telangana. The rally is a tribute to the bravery of the armed forces who carried out Operation Sindoor, targeting terror camps in Pakistan. G. Kishan Reddy praised the operation, stating that it demonstrated India's modern warfare capabilities and sent a strong message that any action threatening India's sovereignty or harming its citizens will not be tolerated. Moving on, fugitive Nirav Modi's troubles have deepened once again. A United Kingdom court on Thursday rejected a fresh bail petition filed by Nirav Modi, who has been in London prison for nearly 6 years after losing his extradition battle to face fraud and money laundering charges in India. The bail plea was strongly opposed by the Crown Prosecution Service that was assisted by a strong team from India's Central Bureau of Investigation or CBI. He is in UK prison since the 19th of March, the year 2019. And Nirav Modi's extradition has already been approved by the High Court of the UK in favour of Indian government. This was the 10th bail application by Nirav Modi. It may be recalled that Nirav Modi is a fugitive economic offender wanted for trial in India in a bank fraud case being probed by the CBI involving the defrauding of Punjab National Bank of 6,498.20 crore rupees. And now the latest on Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia and Ukraine will hold first peace talks in 3 years in Turkiye's Istanbul on Friday. Delegations from Ukraine, Russia, the United States and Turkiye had been due to meet in Istanbul on Thursday for the first face-to-face Ukraine-Russia talks since 2022, but later postponed for Friday. Earlier, Russian President proposed direct talks on the 15th of May in Istanbul in response to a call by European leaders and Ukraine for a 30-day unconditional ceasefire. But Zelensky then challenged Putin to meet him in person, and on Thursday the Kremlin said that Russian president was not among the officials due to travel to Istanbul. Now, Zelensky had travelled to Turkey but said he would not attend the talks after his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin declined his calls for face-to-face negotiations. The Ukrainian president, however, confirmed that he would send a delegation for the talks in Istanbul, but criticized the low-level delegation being sent by Moscow.
Despite quite a low level of Russian delegation, but with respect to Donald Trump, with respect to the high level of Turkish delegation, with respect to President Erdogan, and willing to demonstrate to try to achieve at least first steps in de-escalation and ending the war, ceasefire. I decided to send our delegation to Istanbul, but not all of them. Head of State Security Service and Chief of Staff won't be there. The delegation will be led by the Defense Minister.
Now, dashing hopes for peace in Ukraine, US President Donald Trump on Thursday said there would be no progress on peace talks without a meeting between himself and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together. But we're going to have to get it solved because too many people are dying.
On the other hand, the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio also downplayed expectations for a peace breakthrough in Russia-Ukraine talks. Talking to media in Istanbul, Rubio said he did not think there would be enough of a breakthrough until Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin meet to discuss it directly.
But we came because we were told that there might be a direct engagement between the Russians and the Ukrainians. That was originally the plan. You all heard the same thing. That was not to be the case, or if it is, it's not at the levels we had hoped it would be at. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they have tremendous breakthrough tomorrow if they talk. But I frankly do not believe that we're going to have a breakthrough here until President Trump sits face-to-face with President Putin and determines what his intentions are moving forward.
And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre from New Delhi. Good morning, Akshay. Well, there were high hopes from this meeting, but the current situation says something else, Akshay. Now, Marco Rubio also downplayed any hopes of a breakthrough in peace talks. Tell us the latest that you're tracking on this, Akshay.
आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है.
We'll try to connect with Akshay once again as he gets our audio. But before that, a quick reiteration on the point that Marco Rubio has once again downplayed any possibility of achieving a breakthrough of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, because Vladimir Putin denied to meet in person with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And now Donald Trump has also said that they would be only possible if Donald Trump comes to meet or Vladimir Putin meets in person with Donald Trump. And so far, both the delegation level talks will still be happening in Istanbul, Turkey, where the peace talks would be taken forward. But the possibility of a breakthrough looks grim as of now, as per the statement of Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States. Let's reconnect with Akshay once again. Akshay, can you get your audio now?
Yes, I can hear you, Deepika.
All right, Akshana, there were high hopes like we were discussing from this meeting, but the current situation says something else because Rubio has once again downplayed any hopes of a breakthrough. Tell us the latest that you're tracking on this, Akshay.
Well, as soon as Vladimir Putin turned down the offer of meeting Zelensky face to face in Istanbul, the talks were all but destined to fail. Now there were high ambitions from both the American side as well as the Turkish side that the capital of Turkey will become a breakthrough point for this conflict that has been going on. That is going to strengthen Turkey geopolitically and make it a prominent place as far as geopolitics of both Asia and East Asia as well as Western Asia, Western Europe are concerned. But when you're looking at the situation, first of all, Vladimir Putin turned down the offer of Zelensky. Then the delegation that he appointed was headed by his presidential aide. So that was another setback as far as the talks are concerned. Later on, we saw Donald Trump turning down the offer as well, with Vladimir Putin not coming. And now we also have Volodymyr Zelensky turning down the offer of having any talks with the delegation that is coming in. Though lower level delegations will be going now. As far as the Russian delegation is concerned, it was a dampener as far as the highly anticipated conversation was concerned between Zelensky and Putin face to face after years of conflict that has been going on between the two countries. But Vladimir Medinsky, the presidential aide heading the team, that didn't have any senior dignitaries besides the military intelligence chief, because it had the deputy defense minister, the deputy foreign minister, but no senior minister as far as the Russian government is concerned. So it was seen as a rebuttal to the attempts that were being made by Ukraine to hyphenate both the countries, Russia and Ukraine, on the same table. But it seems that the Russian side had different plans and they turned down the offer. So while the conflict goes on, it seems now Donald Trump has come out openly and has said that nothing major is going to come till the time he gets face to face with Vladimir Putin. Now that has cleared the situation, for a lot of leaders in Europe, especially that the talks are going to happen between Trump and Putin, and they're not going to take place between Zelensky and Putin. And the kind of validation that Ukraine side has been seeking as far as the Russian engagements are concerned, that have not been offered by the Russian side. So clearly the talks will be stretched. There are going to be no substantial outcomes from the talks if the leaders have refused to come. So it is going to be all but just a conversation between the two sides at a lower level that will be conveyed to their leaderships, and based on that we will see how the US government is going to now plan to engage with Vladimir Putin, especially Donald Trump. With his tall claims that he has been making that he can get the conflict solved within a few days, but that has not happened as well. So it's not just the Russian and the Ukrainian side that are under pressure, but the claims that were made by the US also have failed to reach any substantial outcome, and that is the reason why even the US government will try and have a direct conversation with Vladimir Putin, try and find some solution for this conflict.
And we have the statement from Donald Trump. And we do have the statement from Donald Trump on this. But following this, are we also expecting any sort of reaction or retaliation from President Donald Trump? Because he's also, as you said, equally interested in achieving a peace talk between Russia and Ukraine, and especially Istanbul was seen as the moment for that.
Well, it was seen as the moment for that, but that moment has gone now, and now we are not sure that when the talks will be taking place between the two leaders, whether they will be conducive in nearby dates or sometime soon. But that seems quite unlikely at this point in time. But it seems that Donald Trump will try to make some sort of contact with Vladimir Putin when it comes to direct face-to-face talks. Now, the venue for these talks are certainly not going to be Russia or the US. So there will be a country that will be providing some sort of place for these leaders to come and negotiate as far as a peace deal is concerned. But till the time Donetsk, Donbass, and especially Crimea region are resolved when it comes to the control over these regions, there are not going to be any substantial outcomes, because after years of war, if Zelensky goes back empty-handed without the regions that have been captured by Russia, especially after the recent conflict, then he'll be seen as a failure and will be blamed for so many sacrifices that have been made by the Ukrainian armed forces. Similar thing goes for Russia. If there is no chance that Putin will be willing to return Crimea at any cost, but when it comes to Donetsk and Donbass, they're also region where majority of the population speaks Russian and they wanted to integrate with Russia. So that was also one of the trigger points for the conflict to begin. But it remains to be seen that how solutions will be made, whether some kind of trade deal will be offered or some kind of pressure will be put by the US. But as of now, all of those pressure and the tall claims have failed to actually bring any kind of substantial outcome when it comes to a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us the latest on this. Time to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, Iran is all set to hold talks with Britain, France and Germany in Turkiye on Friday after US President Donald Trump said a nuclear deal with Tehran was getting close. Talking to the media, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi confirmed that the next round of Iran-Europe talks at the level of Deputy Foreign Ministers will be held in Istanbul on Friday. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the meeting will focus on consultations and discussions on the indirect Tehran-Washington talks. The talks with Britain, France and Germany in Istanbul comes as Tehran and Washington are expected to hold a fifth round of nuclear talks in the coming days. Britain, France and Germany were part of the 2015 nuclear deal signed between Iran and world powers that Trump unilaterally withdrew from in 2018. Now, Iran held commemorations on Thursday to mark 1 year since the death of President Ibrahim Raisi. Crowds gathered in Tehran holding Iranian flags and posters featuring Raisi and the late Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian. Raisi and Amira Badoleyan were killed when their helicopter crashed in poor weather condition in the mountains near the Azerbaijan border last year. The father of an Israeli soldier killed during the Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th of October called on the international community to act to free the hostages held in Gaza and for Hamas to return his son's remains. Ruby Chen's son, Italy Chen, was serving as a soldier when Hamas carried out its surprise cross-border assault through southern Israeli towns and military bases, sparking the conflict in Gaza. The dual US citizen was believed to have been held as the hostage, but the Israeli military confirmed Itai's death in March of last year.
We, the U.S. hostage families and the 54 other families with hostages in Gaza, are collateral damage. Yeah, collateral damage is the best thing I got in a conflict that has been going on for decades. We want Itai back. And his physical status, whatever it might be, does not make him any less of a hostage.
A U.S. judge in New Mexico dismissed trespassing charges against dozens of migrants caught in a new military zone on the U.S.-Mexico border, marking a setback for Donald Trump administration and the efforts to raise penalties for illegal crossings. The so-called New Mexico National Defense Area was established in April along 180 miles of the border. U.S. Army troops patrol the area and can detain civilians entering it. A second buffer zone was set up in Texas this month. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said the military would continue to expand the zones to gain 100% operational control of the border. He also said the migrants caught in the military areas face combined penalties of up to 10 years of imprisonment. British police have charged 21-year-old Ukrainian national Roman Lavronovich with 3 counts of arson with an intent to endanger life following a counter-terrorism investigation into multiple fires in London. The incidents include a fire at Prime Minister Keir Starmer's private residence in Kentish Town. Additional fires in Islington and Kentish Town are also under investigation for possible links. Lavronovich is set to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on Friday. Starmer condemned the attack as a threat to democracy and shared values. Now, hundreds of Bolivian gold miners marched through the streets of La Paz, demanding urgent government actions to resolve Bolivia's worsening dollar and fuel shortages that they say are crippling their industry. The protests, led by various mining cooperatives, began in the highland city of El Alto before winding down through the capital's central avenues. Chanting slogans and waving banners, miners urged President Luis Arce's administration to ensure access to foreign currency and fuel, resources they say are vital for their operations. Bolivia has been grappling with a dollar shortage since early 2023, coinciding with a sharp decline in international reserves and falling revenues from natural gas exports, which is a key source of income for the country. Now, Peru's Interior Ministry confirmed that a suspect in the killing of 13 miners in the northern district of Patas has been arrested in Colombia. The victims, who were working at a gold mine in northern Peru, were kidnapped and murdered by illegal miners tied to criminal gangs. The incident is part of a growing wave of violence fueled by battles for territorial control in mineral-rich regions. In response to the surge in violence, the Peruvian government has established a military base in Patas to restore order and deter further attacks. Authorities continue their investigation into the area massacre as pressure mounts to crack down on illegal minings and the violent criminal network behind it. At least 13 people were hurt when a driver lost control and plowed into a crowd gathered outside before a Spanish soccer match in Barcelona. The driver has been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving and causing injury. Police said people were hurt when the vehicle rammed into the crowd outside RCT Espanyol Soccer Stadium in Barcelona at the beginning of the game. The incident did not present any sort of danger to the crowd inside the stadium. Authorities in Sao Paulo are investigating an environmental incident after a vehicle carrying a blue tie tank crashed in Brazil, causing a chemical spill that has turned local waters a vivid blue and left multiple dead fish floating in its wake. The incident occurred on Tuesday afternoon when the vehicle struck a pole, releasing a chemical dye that seeped into a nearby manhole about 50 meters from the crash site. The manhole connects directly to the Jardim das Tulipas Creek that flows through a neighborhood park before merging with Jundial River. Environmental experts are also monitoring the affected park area to evaluate long-term consequences for local flora and fauna. A massive dark stain was seen in the Rio de Janeiro sea near Barra de Tijuca beach, sparking concerns among researchers, residents and beachgoers about its possible effects. The dark patch is believed to have originated from the lagoon system connecting the Barra regions. According to Brazil's State Environmental Institute, INEA, the phenomenon occurred due to an ebbing tide carrying organic matter from the lagoons into the ocean. The temperature difference between the lagoon water and the sea caused by the visible change in the color. Environmentalists are pointing to a deeper systematic issue. The incident has renewed calls for stronger environmental oversight and long-term investment in sanitation for Rio's vulnerable coastal ecosystem. The Federal Aviation Administration approved license modifications for the SpaceX Starship Flight 9 mission, including allowing it to increase the number of operations to up to 25 per year at the Boca Chica in Texas. SpaceX will not be allowed to launch until the FAA either closes its Starship Flight 8 investigation or makes a return to flight determination, the FAA added into a statement. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Japan's economy shrinks 0.2% in Q1 2025 amid weak exports and continued trade disruptions. Neeraj Chopra leads strong Indian contingent at Doha Diamond League, eyeing another victory. Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute's A Doll Made Up of Clay makes historic Cannes 2025 debut in Larsen F section.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. And now let's get you all the latest from the world of business. Now, Facebook parent company Meta Platforms asked a federal judge to throw out the US Federal Trade Commission's case, accusing it of an illegal social media monopoly, saying the agency failed to prove its case at a high-stakes antitrust trial. At the trial, which began on the 14th of April in Washington, the FTC has sought to show that Meta, then known as Facebook, illegally dominated the markets for social media platforms used to share updates with friends and family through its acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp. The FTC is seeking to unwind those deals that occurred more than a decade ago. If granted, Meta's request for a ruling on the evidence so far would bring a quicker end to the case, through US District Judge James Boasberg could decline to take it up. Meta is now presenting its own evidence at the trial that may run into June. Now, Japan's economy shrank much more than expected in the first quarter of 2025 as the country's key exports slid amid tariff-related disruptions in global trade, while private consumption remained weak. Japan's economy contracted 0.2% in the 3 months to March, registering the first quarterly drop in a year, according to Cabinet Office data released on Friday. The preliminary figure was worse than market expectations of a 0.1% contraction, with the world's fourth largest economy currently trying to negotiate relief from US trade tariffs. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest action from the world of sports, to begin with soccer. Barcelona secured their 28th LaLiga title on Thursday when they beat city rivals Espanyol by 2-0. Espanyol were arguably the better side in a first half that was goalless, and thanks to Barcelona goalkeeper who made a brilliant save. Lamine Yamal opened the scoring in the second half with a brilliant curling effort before Fermin Lopez added another in the 95th minute to secure a victory. The result moved Barcelona to 85 points, 7 ahead of second-placed Real Madrid with 2 games left to play. Barcelona fans celebrated their team's La Liga title. The two completed a domestic treble this season with Copa del Rey and Spanish Super Cup victory. Al Ittihad clinched the Saudi Pro League title with 2 matches to spare as they came from a goal down to beat Al Rayed by 3-1. Al Ittihad needed a victory to earn their 10th league title, but Al Rayed drew first blood as Omar Gonzalez gave the bottom team the lead. Al Ittihad fought back with Steven Bergwijn equalizing 12 minutes later. A Danilo Pereira header gave them the lead shortly before half-time. 2 minutes into the second half, Abdul Rahman Al Oboud put the game out of Al Rayed's reach. The victory moved Al Ittihad to 77 points from 32 matches, 9 points ahead of second-placed Al Hilal. Now, reigning javelin throw world champion Neeraj Chopra will spearhead a 4-front Indian challenge at the Doha Diamond League, which is scheduled to kick off on Friday. Asian Games silver medalist Kishore Cheena will keep Neeraj company in the men's javelin throw event, while Parul Chaudhary will compete in the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase event. Another Indian athlete, Kulveer Singh, is all set for his Diamond League debut when he takes to the tracks in the men's 5,000 meter race. Now, this is the largest Indian contingent at any single Diamond League meet to date. Neeraj Chopra won the Doha leg of the Diamond League in 2023 and finished second last year. In cricket, opener Shafali Verma and wicketkeeper batter Yastika Bhatia have returned to India's women cricket team after selectors picked the squad for the upcoming tour of England. India have named a 15-member T20 squad. The ODI squad consists of 16 players. Both the teams will be led by Harmanpreet Kaur, who will be assisted by Smriti Vandhana. Verma has been included in the T20 squad after a gap of 7 months. Yastika Bhatia, who was sidelined since last November due to a wrist injury, also returned to the squad. Yastika is part of the both T20 and one-day squads. India will play 5 T20 internationals and 3 one-day matches in England starting the 28th of June. In tennis, American Coco Gauff clinched a marathon 3-set battle against China's Zheng Qinfen to advance into the Italian Open final. Gauff will face at least Jasmine Paolini in Saturday's title match after pulling through 7-6, 4-6, 7-6 in the semi-finals that lasted over 3.5 hours. 6-seed Paolini is the third Italian woman to reach the final and the first since her doubles partner Sara Errani was thumped by Serena Williams in 2014. Paolini will have a chance to be the first woman from the Mediterranean nation to win in Rome since Rafaela in 1985. In men's singles category, Yannick Sinner marched into the semi-finals of the Italian Open after destroying Casper Ruud in straight sets by 6-0, 6-1. Ruud was supposed to be Sinner's toughest test in Rome since he came back from his doping ban. But the 23-year-old demolished Ruud in just over an hour. Yannick Sinner won the first set in just 27 minutes and maintained his record of not dropping a set in the tournament. Yannick Sinner will next play American Tommy Paul, while the other semi-final will pit Lorenzo Musetti against Spanish Carlos Alcaraz on Friday. Moving on, Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute's film A Doll Made Up of Clay makes historic Cannes 2025 entry. It has achieved official selection in the prestigious La Cinef section at the festival. As the only Indian entry in this category, the film marks a significant milestone in India's cinematic education journey. Jaya Sinha has a special had a special conversation with the film crew at the Cannes Film Festival. Take a listen.
SRFTI's film, A Doll Made Up of Clay, has made it to the La Cinef section of 78th edition of Cannes Film Festival. We have with us the team behind this film. I want to ask, what is this zero-budget film? We are in an era of mega-budget blockbusters. How did you manage to make this zero-budget film?
So Zero Budget is a project in the producing for film and television department in SRFTI where we don't allot any money, but we have the resource from the institute. So we need to collaborate with our from student or maybe from the outside. So we executed this in the 24 minutes and in the 4 days only. So whole team helped me to produce this cinema, a short film.
So tell me about, it's a 23-minute film and it's called as an experimental movie. As a student, what are your thoughts and how the process of filmmaking started with this, especially with this film?
So like Sahil actually approached us as like collaborators for the film, and then we heard the story from the director, and so all in all it was a difficult thing to execute, but we did it, and then now we are here. And it's a brilliant achievement for the team and for SRFTA as well.
Okay. Uma is with us. Uma is the executive producer of the film. Uma, how it feels to make your film and then reach Cannes on the very first film? How it feels like?
You know what? It's just a funny incident when Sahil called me and he was like, Uma, our film got selected at the Cannes Film Festival. I was like, wow, it's crazy. And then after 10 minutes, after thinking for 10 minutes, I called him, Sahil, please do cross-check. It could be a scam with us. And he was like, no, we got official email. So for us, you know, we have never imagined taking a zero budget, making a zero budget film and taking it to this level is something which I think no one as a filmmaker can imagine it. But this is, you know, beauty of different creative minds coming together in one place and then taking this decision to make something very out of the box. So, yeah.
From a student to a filmmaker, how it feels and how was the journey?
So I am in my final year. So this project is basically we can collaborate across the batches. So this was my last chance basically. This is my final year. So I was not expecting coming to Cannes because after graduating I have to again start my struggle in the industry. But in the final year I got this chance, like from a student filmmaker to a filmmaker now. So yeah, it's a very good feeling.
From student to filmmaker, from Kolkata to Cannes, these students represent the creator economy we are talking about. Fingers crossed, we hope that their film makes India proud. With camera person Sumit, Jaya Sinha, DD News, reporting from Cannes.
And before we let you go, it's now time to get you amazing visuals. Well, the heartwarming tale of a Chennai couple's dedication to feeding birds has been a beacon of kindness in the bustling city. For the past 15 years, the couple from the area has been selflessly providing food for the birds, showcasing their compassion and love for these creatures. Take a look and enjoy the visuals. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.